The sun hung low over the tropical paradise where the cast of 90 Day Fiancé, the last resort, resided. Waves gently kissed the shore as the retreat promised renewal and resolution for struggling couples. Gino Palazzolo, with his ever-present baseball cap, sat stiffly on the balcony, staring out at the horizon while tension thickened between him and Jasmine Pinda. Jasmine stood a few feet away, her arms folded, eyes smoldering with frustration. Her voice, usually full of fire, now carried a trace of hurt. "Why do you keep pulling away, Gino?" she asked softly. "I'm your wife. I want to love you, to feel close to you, but every time I reach out, you shut me down." Gino shifted uncomfortably, adjusting his glasses. His eyes darted away from hers, seeking refuge in the distance. "It's not that simple," he mumbled. "It never is with you." Jasmine threw her hands up. "You act like touching me is a punishment. What is it, Gino? Do you not love me anymore?" He exhaled heavily, feeling the weight of her words pressing down on his chest. "Of course I love you," he whispered. "But I can't handle all the fighting, Jasmine. It's too much." Her eyes filled with tears. "Every relationship has fights. That doesn't mean you stop showing love. That's when you fight harder to stay connected." As the day unfolded, flashbacks of their early love painted the air between them. Jasmine remembered their first meeting, her heart racing at the sight of Gino's nervous smile. He was different from the flashy men she had known, gentle, awkward, and kind. He had promised her stability and a future full of possibilities. She clung to those memories now as she fought to understand the cold distance between them. Gino, meanwhile, was trapped in a maze of his own insecurities. The battles they waged over jealousy, financial struggles, and personal boundaries had worn him down. Every argument seemed to chip away at the foundation of their intimacy. His fear of conflict had grown so strong that even the thought of physical affection felt like a trigger for another explosion. "I don't want to hurt you," he said after a long pause. "But I'm scared." Jasmine's scared of where this is going. "Where what is going?" she demanded, her voice trembling. "Our marriage, our life together. You can't fix anything if you won't even hold my hand." The next morning they sat in a therapy session, facing Dr. Rivera, a patient yet probing therapist with a calm demeanor. The couple sat on opposite sides of the couch, a canyon of silence between them. "Tell me what's been happening," Dr. Rivera began gently. Jasmine spoke first, her emotions spilling forth like a dam bursting. "He won't touch me, won't kiss me, won't even look at me sometimes. I feel invisible. How am I supposed to believe we're a team if he treats me like a stranger?" Gino clenched his jaw. "It's not that I don't care, it's just I'm tired. Every time I try to connect, it leads to a fight. It's like walking on a minefield." Dr. Rivera nodded. "Gino, what does affection mean to you?" "It should feel safe," he said quietly. "But it hasn't felt that way in a long time." "And you, Jasmine?" The therapist turned to her. "Affection means trust. It's how I know he loves me. how I feel connected. Without it, I'm lost." The session ended with no magical solution, only a glimmer of understanding. As they walked back to their room, a fragile silence hung between them. Jasmine reached for his hand. He flinched, pulling away. The rejection stung like ice water. She stopped in her tracks, her heart pounding. "You did it again," she whispered. Gino stopped, but didn't turn around. His voice was strained. "I'm sorry." "Sorry isn't enough." Jasmine's voice broke. "You're not even trying." "I'm trying," he snapped, spinning around. "You think I like feeling this way, like a failure? Every time we fight, I lose a little more of myself. I'm scared to touch you because I don't want to mess up again." Jasmine's anger melted into sorrow. "Gino, I don't need you to be perfect. I need you to be present. I need you to show up, flaws and all." Determined to bridge the gap, Jasmine planned a surprise. She created a romantic setting on their balcony, stringing up soft lights and setting out candles. A gentle breeze carried the scent of jasmine flowers, symbolic of her namesake and her desire to bring warmth back into their marriage. When Gino stepped outside, he was taken aback. "What's all this?" "Just us," she said, her eyes hopeful. "No fighting, no past, just now." He hesitated, then sat down beside her. The tension in his shoulders slowly eased as they shared stories of happier times, picnics in the park, secret jokes only. "Me too," Jasmine said, her hand tentatively resting on his. This time, he didn't pull away. In the days that followed, they practiced vulnerability. Gino opened up about his fears, and Jasmine softened her approach, listening without judgment. They learned to communicate without letting anger take the lead. The journey was far from over, but for the first time in a long time, hope bloomed between them. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Gino surprised Jasmine by wrapping his arms around her. She froze, her heart racing. Slowly, she melted into his embrace, feeling the warmth she had craved for so long. The road to healing is never straight or smooth. For Gino and Jasmine, love was a battlefield fraught with misunderstandings and wounded pride. But beneath the scars lay a bond worth fighting for. The last resort became not just a place of conflict, but a crucible where they rediscovered the power of vulnerability, trust, and the simple magic of holding hands. As the retreat drew to a close, they stood side by side, watching the waves. Gino reached out, intertwining his fingers with Jasmine's. This time, there was no hesitation, only the promise of a love reborn.